What's going on, everybody? I'm the Timmeister, and welcome to a brand new series for a brand new game. This is Citystate 2. Citystate 2 is a city builder simulator very similar to City Skylines, but it goes much more in-depth as far as, I guess, the manageability of a city. It's a little bit more realistic on that front. It's also a very political game as well. So as your city develops, your population can either sort of become more left-wing or right-wing. So there's a lot of politics that are involved in this game. So this is a pretty complicated game. I played a little bit yesterday just to get a feel of the controls and how it all works, and I basically just did the tutorial, and I'm at the point now where I'm ready to start a new map with you guys, and we're just going to dive right into it. So first, when you boot up the game, you're brought to the nation, or the Create Nation screen. So this game, actually, you're at the control of a nation, and within that nation, you can see here that there's a bunch of squares on this map. Each square is an individual city. So you can see this is kind of comparable to SimCity 4, where you had a giant map with a variety of squares. You can just sort of zoom into one particular square and build a city from there. So the first thing we must do here is pick our geography. So there's a bunch of different maps that we have available for each type of map. So let's say I go coastal, there's map A, B, and C, and they're each coastal maps. I really like the coastal maps. I can just show you real quick here. There's some peninsulas, which are a lot more jagged and probably difficult to work with. There's archipelago maps, which don't really feature a lot of land mass, really. And then we have valleys, which, I don't think I took the time to look at these maps. This map looks pretty cool. And then we have exotic maps, which, oh wow, looks like Mars. Oh, and this is a nice map too, but the mountains probably look quite difficult to build on. But honestly, I really like the coastal maps. I think when I first played the tutorial, I think I was on this map. But I don't know, I kind of like this map as well. I think I'm going to go for this one. Now, next thing, we're going to choose our political culture. We can read the description for each one here. And of course, we can have a left-leaning city, which the population will lean more towards the left side of the political spectrum, helps with the approval ratings if the governor chooses a socialist or progressive approach. This option does not change the migrant's political affiliation. Center is probably kind of in the middle, I mean, obviously. And then right, the population will lean towards the right side of the political spectrum, helps with approval ratings if the governor chooses a capitalist or conservative approach. So you'll see that when we're in the game, there's a whole bunch of policies that we can enact which will raise the approval rating of either the left wing population or the right wing. So it's really up to us which side of the political spectrum we would like to go. And then starting settings, I think I'm just gonna go with set to easy on this one. I'm just gonna like max out the number, or max out our balance. Currency value is gonna be set to high, you know. Oh, we can actually adjust the demand, but anyways, I'll just keep that at 50. Was that at 50? Yeah. So I'm just gonna set it at easy, because even when I was doing the tutorial on easy, this was like a super big challenge for me. So, oh wow, first name, I actually really like it. Alkania. That's a nice name. I'm gonna keep that name. All right, so let's create our nation. Let's jump right into this. So this is what the map looks like. When I zoom out completely, we have all of this to play with, and then as you saw earlier, we have a bunch of squares that we can choose from. But first, if you can read up here, we must purchase some land in order to settle our capital. So let's choose an area where we should build our capital city. Maybe we can start. These squares aren't really in the best position. I mean, we kind of lose like half. This map is only like half land, and the rest is water, but I like this spot. It's like right in the middle of the bay. I feel like this would be a good spot for a city. Let's start off with, I don't know, how much is this square? 50,000. We're not getting the best bang for buck with this square. I mean, I could go inland, but I'd like to have some water. I don't know. What do you guys think? And I could settle here, but we have some quite large mountains. This is gonna be a hard map. I'm eyeing this map here, or this portion of the map. I think I'm just gonna go here. It looks quite flat. We do lose quite a bit of land. Well, there is quite a bit of water in this square, but let's go for it. New city. Let's see. All right, guys, I think we have a name. I've been generating names for like the past 10 minutes, and I think I settled on this name here, Valoria. Seems like a nice name for a city, so let's do this. Now, the next step is we're gonna have to transfer some money to the city. So we have our national treasury, $150,000, and we can choose how much money to transfer to this city. So amount of money to transfer to the city, I think 100,000 would be good. But why do we have a balance of 90,000 if I decide? Oh, what did I do there? There. Balance. Oh! Oh, I see. I already had a balance of 90K, so I think we can maybe reduce this. Yeah, let's go. Let's transfer. Do you think 90K is enough to start with? Oh, maybe let's start with 100K. All right, now the next step, as per the tutorial. So I'm actually gonna play the tutorial again. Just so I can, like, you know, get back into the game, and maybe I missed a couple of things in the tutorial. But the next thing that needs to be done is we need to generate a flag. So bear with me just 2 minutes, and I'm going to generate a flag. Okay, guys, this is my flag. I don't really know what this crest is, but it looks nice, and I think this is our flag. So I'm gonna adopt this as a flag, create and go to the capital. Let's do it. Opening Valoria. So yeah, this game, what I've noticed about it, or what's going to be pretty obvious pretty quick to you guys, is this game is kind of similar to City Skylines, but it takes a lot of the creative freedom away in a sense, and replaces that creative freedom with, I guess, a more in-depth management gameplay for the city. So what I'm trying to say is, rather than being able to create like these really complicated highway systems and being super creative with curvy roads, we are really just stuck with a grid. You can't even have diagonal roads. If I show you here, like, it's either, you know, straight like that, or, you know, there's no curvy roads at all. So you lose a little bit of that creative freedom, but it's replaced with, you know, a high level of manageability. So the game really goes in depth and functions a lot like a real city should. But that aside, I really like the graphical style. You can see that it's kind of Minecrafty with these blocks here, but the trees and the textures look really nice. You'll see as the city develops. It actually has like a nice realistic look to the whole game. So let's go through the tutorial again, so you know we can quickly learn how everything works. All right, so the first part of the tutorial is going to get us to build a road, and I suppose we can start with a gravel road just because we're poor. Not necessarily poor, but we don't really have anything going on. So where do I want to start this city? I'd say maybe like wherever the terrain is less steep. I'd say maybe over this corner. So we have the beach. I don't really want to destroy the beach, so I'm going to lay a road down like this. And then I'll have sort of T interchange like this. And we already have some low income housing demand. So in order to deal with that, we're going to go over here to our zones. And I think just for the sake of the tutorial, they're getting us to build some medium density zonage. So you can see here the way we zone is a little bit unique. So it's divided into these 4 sort of squared blocks. And then we can just drag along these roads here. And for some reason that didn't work. There. And stuff should start to build. So now we need to build at least 25 residential lots. So before I go crazy with zoning, I'm just going to lay down some more streets and create a sort of grid pattern that we can follow. I'm hoping that's going to be enough room. Look at that. All right, so I guess we already have our 25 lots. Now we need to start water and power production. So, of course, we're going to need some power. The cheapest thing we have available is a diesel generator. And I'm probably going to want to keep that away from all of our citizens. So maybe I'm going to drag a road out this way. I wonder, oh, does that count as a connection? And let's just have our diesel generator along the main road and a water tower, so there's no concern of having this right in the middle of the city. And what's fun about this, guys, is there's no water pipes. You just have to plop the water towers down and that's it. So I figure all the water pipes are underneath the roads like they most likely would be in real life. So there's no dragon pipes throughout the entire map, throughout, you know, the whole game. So now it wants us to zone commercial. So let's have like a commercial main street. Build 6 commercial lots. There we are. All right, so now that we have our basic zones laid out, the tutorial wants us to put in some tax cuts for retail. So we're gonna cut the tax rate for retail by a couple of percent down to 3%. And I'm just gonna quickly go over this screen. This is a screen that you're gonna be seeing a lot in this series, and this is our budget screen. So you can see here that we have our tax rates for each class of whatever it may be. So lower class, middle class, upper class residential. We have retail and offices, which I think is the same thing. I think it just qualifies as commercial. Same thing with industrial. We have basic and advanced manufacturing. I'm still not quite sure what the difference is. And then we have property tax, which is set at 1%. And then in the future, in not too long, we're going to enact a bunch of policies which are going to cost us some money. And then down below, this is kind of a fun screen. I really like this. So we have the exchange rate. So we have the in-game currency, CSD, which is compared to USD. So right now our money's not worth very much, about half or, about half of a USD, a little bit less. And then we have our inflation rate. So this is calculated based on a bunch of things as it is in real life. I'm not going to give you guys the spiel on that. But one thing that's interesting is I'm able to print money. So if we're in a situation where we're just running out of money or whatever the problem is, I'm able to print money. And this, of course, will just jack inflation like sky high. And I'm also able to buy dollars. Now, if you look over here, we have all of our expenses, and we have a national contribution. So this is how much of the money that we're generating from this city that's being contributed to the whole nation. So you can see here we're in a little bit of a loss. We're losing 173 per month, I think. I think it's monthly. Yeah, it's a monthly cash flow. So that's the budget screen. So now the tutorial would like us to build 6 industrial lots. So I'm going to zoom out over here and build a couple of industrial lots in order to satisfy demand. You can see our industrial demand is quite high. We'll go for medium density. All right, Build new roads and new residential zones, provide the necessary amount of commercial and industrial lots following values from the demand bars. So that's pretty self-explanatory. Our country doesn't attract many migrants yet, so our city will grow slowly, especially if the unemployment rate is too high, which right now, this is our unemployment view, it's at 10%, which is pretty high, but I mean, yeah, I guess that's when you're in a fresh city, getting everything to balance out is a little challenging. So I don't know if I want medium density right now, as we're just a small city. I'm just gonna zone a bunch of small single family homes. We need to reach a population of 750. And you can see here, like, we're kind of on a slope, and the terrain is a little ridiculous, but it's not too bad. But you'll see here, like, look at these houses, guys. Like, I know these are kind of low value, kind of poor houses, because of course we're just starting out the city, but look how well detailed there are. You'll see, like, these buildings are really nice. Oh, look at that. All right, so we have 800 people in the town. Government buildings unlock new policies and new tools to control our country's growth. The headquarters are very special. This building will expand by itself with more population and with enough active policies. It can't be destroyed. Its location should be chosen judiciously. All right, so let's plop down a government headquarters, $3,000. Where should we place this building? I think I'm gonna place it like right at the end of the street, like this. Yeah, and then eventually we'll upgrade this road. That'll look really cool. All right, each government building speeds up the growth of the stability index. So I'll explain a little bit about that. This is our stability down here, and this is basically our, I like to compare it to turns. You know how, like, in Civilization you have a turn and you can only do so many things within that turn? Well, our stability is like the number of turns we have, and that refers to the amount of things we can do. So any government changes. So if I go into my legislation here, I have the government tag. You can see here I have a government tab, and in this tab I have a bunch of policies. So if I enact any policy, it's going to reduce my stability just because there's change going on within the government. So you can see here this indicator directly affects the inflation and approval rates, as should ideally stay above 50 points. So this probably shouldn't drop below 50. Destroying slums, new policies, and new tax rates will lower this index. When reaching 0, tax rates and policies can no longer be changed. Okay, so that's something I missed, actually. I didn't think that tax rate adjustments would affect this. Policies can change the way the economy operates, the attractivity of our country, and how health or wealth is distributed among citizens. They are shared across all cities of the nation, but if you wish, you can leave policies aside for now and expand the city by other means. If so, skip the next 2 steps. So let's take a look at what kind of policies we can enact. So first, in the health insurance category, we have 4 separate policies that we can enact. This all looks very complicated, and it is. I still don't fully understand it, but you can see that. Let's take, like, this this third policy as an example. Or wait, that might not be a good example. Let's take this one, Universal Public Plan. So this is a super expensive plan. It's going to cost us $29 a month, and you can see that it's a very left-wing policy. So it's not very good for the economy itself, but it's very good for, I guess, the general population. You can see here that it negatively affects pretty much all retail. It positively affects advanced manufacturing. I'm not really sure why that would be, but you can see here that civil rights goes up, and that's a different meter. Civil rights, higher intolerant and open societies, sometimes accompanied by strong government intervention. So this is, I guess, the level of our civil rights index. I don't fully understand this yet, but anyways. Migrants are built. Oh yeah, I should pause the game as I explain these things. So, I guess I'll explain like what else these are. So this is the Economic Freedom Index. Higher is unregulated free market economies. So this is how well our economy is doing. Then we have our Civil Rights Index. And then here we have our approval ratings. I'm just going to quickly open this window to show you guys. So you can see here that we have approval from the left and approval from the right. So this gives 5 points to our civil rights. After that, we have a social ladder. I'm not really sure what this is. Let's read. A positive social ladder allows household income to increase. Lower class families will become middle class, and middle class will become upper class. The opposite is also possible. All factors at play are displayed under the population tab in the stats window. Okay. After that, we have economic freedom. So if I enact this policy, it doesn't affect our economic freedom at all. And then I guess it has a positive effect on healthcare. Doesn't affect education or policing. What's this? Birth rate. Okay, I didn't know this was a stat. And we also have a religion that applies to this game too. So we can have a very religious city. And at one point in the tutorial, it's going to explain that if our city is super religious, then it'll tend to have a very right-wing population. So there's a whole lot of stuff at play here, as you can see. It has no effect on pollution. And then there's also a corruption index, which I don't fully understand yet. And then here on the bottom, you can see that there's a much higher approval for this policy on the left. And then here there's kind of a political spectrum bar. And then we can see the cost on the bottom. So this is just an example that I wanted to explain. Each policy in the healthcare insurance category has different, I guess, categories. So if I go for like the optional private funded only, we can see here it's very good for business, but it's not so good for the left, you know, for like the socialist group. Anyway, I'm not like super knowledgeable, guys, with all like how this stuff works. Like City Skylines is complicated enough for me, and then I'm jumping into this. I'm a pretty simple guy. I don't know, I'm not like super political, and I'm not familiar on how governments work and how the economy works. I have a basic sense of all this. So feel free to correct me if I get any of this wrong, because this more or less like portrays how things work in real life. So, yeah, do we want to enact a healthcare insurance? I don't want to like spend too much time on this, but I think maybe if we kind of adopt the centralist policy, I feel like a compulsory public-private funded plan would be the best bet, because it's not super expensive. Approval will go down from each side, but 10%, 20% is not too bad. Every other stat pretty much goes up, but our corruption status goes up, which is not a good thing. A higher corruption index will prevent the middle-class citizens from getting richer. Okay, so that's an interesting thing. So I'm going to approve this, and this will affect my stability by 4, which is okay. Unemployment, should we do anything for that? Maybe I won't enact too many policies, because unemployment doesn't really affect that much. What should I do here? 12 months, 75% income. Basic manufacturing. It's -1. This doesn't really affect too much. It affects approval from the right. I myself personally, I don't know. I want to keep this like politically neutral, but it's kind of hard when like a game is like super political. But I myself personally, I'm a little bit more left leaning, but I'm pretty centralist. Like, I don't know, for each type of party, there's always like pros and cons for each, and I always kind of fall right in the middle, but I tend to think that I'm a little bit more left-leaning. All right, then we have unemployment. I think I'm just going to go for the 12 months, 75% income. It's not too expensive. It'll make the people a little happier. Then we have entrepreneurship. What does this do? It doesn't say. So set up community workshops for minorities. Mandatory entrepreneurship class in high school. Mandatory entrepreneur program for all young adults. Does this have like any negative effect at all? It doesn't seem like it does. And it's not that expensive. I think I'm just gonna go for the mandatory entrepreneurship class in high schools. It's $2 a month. Not bad. And then pensions. This is a big one. And of course, anything that's, this is kind of confusing. Any plan or any policy that's like all the way to the right seems to be more left-leaning, which is kind of confusing. All right, well, let's see what we can do here. I don't think I want to go with the state-funded universal annuity. State-funded income-based annuity. This seems like a more centralist kind of policy. What about these ones? Compulsory private funded plan and then optional plan. You can see this has a very negative effect on the left, but it's better for the economy, I guess. Wow, this is an expensive plan. 19 bucks a month. But I mean, we're making $102 a month. I think I might just enact this because it doesn't have a super negative effect on either side. Like, look at this one, minus 50% for the right. I'm going to try to remain kind of central in this series. So I'm going to enact this. And there we have it. There is the 4 government policies that we have enacted. I'm assuming that as our population grows and we unlock, I guess, or we upgrade our government building, we're going to unlock more policies. Oh, okay, we can't manage any of the other tabs. So there we have it. I guess this is just like the basic. I don't know how long to make this episode. I don't want to make it too long. Okay, so I picked a policy. I've enacted my policies. Click on the layers button. Oh yeah. So here in our layers menu, we can just get an overview of like our city's pollution. So you can see a little bit of yellow over there. We can see like our birth rate, traffic, health, education, all those kind of stuff. So this is kind of like our metric window or whatever it's called in City Skylines. It's kind of the same thing. There's not as much stuff that we can see, but it's all pretty important stuff. So if we continue, oh yeah, public services. So this is kind of similar to City Skylines. Of course, we need elementary schools and high schools and all that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and place an elementary school. And you'll see here that if I click on this school, we can actually hire a certain amount of teachers based on the amount of students that there are. And in the future, we can actually upgrade the school to further increase the capacity of it. So I keep getting this message here. Migrants are building slums. Where are the slums? Oh yeah, like over here. I didn't zone any of this, and you can see that there's like some shacks and stuff that are popping up, which is kind of cool. Now, what causes this is exactly this. Our city cannot handle such a large population influx. More residential zones must be built on lower land or low value land, or the immigration policy must become more restrictive. So right now our residential demand is through the roof. So I think I'm just going to take a little bit of time to lay down some more streets. And we're going to get some more people to move into our town. Oh, space is occupied. Let me know what you think about the art style, guys, or I guess like the style of the game. I actually, personally, I really like it. The only gripe I have is like you don't have any diagonal roads or anything like that, but it's okay. I mean, it's not a game-breaking feature. All right, so let's zone some medium density. We'll eventually turn this into like maybe a downtown area, and then let's have some low, what is it, like low density? Yeah, What's kind of confusing is you have like low, medium, and high density, but then you have lower class. Yeah, you have like low, mid, and high class stuff. All right, so let's hit play here. All these houses are going to begin building, and that will sort of hopefully reduce the amount of slums that are in town. As opposed to schools, power plants don't need to be extended to increase their capacity. To accommodate the growing population, let's turn on a second power generator. Left click on the diesel generator that we have over here, and then let's boost this up to 2. So this is kind of going to increase the output of our generator. I'm not sure by how much. I didn't really check. Oh, it doubles it. Okay, cool. And then we can see here that our power usage goes down by half, so makes sense. Now our next goal is reach a population of 2,000. All right, well, let's do exactly that. Let's just lay down some houses. Oh yeah, and what's cool too is we have residential zones, so we can zone for housing, but we also have public housing, which is pretty expensive, but it doesn't have a monthly cost at all, and I mean, it gives us more control on how the city develops. I'm not exactly sure what all the pros are for doing that versus just zoning residential, because zoning is pretty cheap, but I'm sure that it has its implications somewhere. We can probably upgrade our roads pretty soon too. You know, we don't want to have dirt roads everywhere. And maybe let's have a little bit of commercial just ready to go for when our demand inevitably increases. I'm just gonna place down some low density, and then let's have some medium density residential right beside it here. Migrants are still building slums. Oh my god, our housing is... But why isn't anything building? I'm on play. Why is population not going up? Seems like nothing's building. To continue the tutorial, we need to unlock the immigration settings, and for that the city needs to grow. Expand the city while keeping an eye on unemployment, which is kind of high at 21%, and the demand bars. So our residential demand is sky high, but I'm not sure why none of these residential lots are building up. This is kind of weird. The game's on play. Unemployment reaches new high. Poverty strikes the city. Inflation is continuing to rise. By how much? Ooh, that's pretty high. 3.3%. Electricity production is excessive. Yeah, but the tutorial got me to like double up on it. There. We gotta save a little bit of money. We're losing money. Okay, well something's wrong here, I'm thinking, guys. Houses should be building. I'm not really sure why they're not. Why is that? Is this a glitch? Water production is excessive. Oh my god. Not much I can do about that. But what's going on here? Why is the city not growing? Hope this isn't a glitch. Home prices skyrocket. Oh my god, what am I doing? Alright, well this is kind of weird. Well, guys, I think that's going to be it for this episode. So you guys have a basic sense of what this game looks like and what it's going to be. Alright, guys, well, I was right. It was a glitch, I think, anyway. Because you can see as soon as I hit play here, there's a bunch of houses that are starting to build. And after reading a few reviews on the game, apparently the game kind of has this bug where zoning just stops working. But anyway, I just relaunched the game and everything seems to be going great now. Population is on the rise. We have some houses building, and demand is dropping ever so slightly. But anyways, that's going to be it for this episode. The town is in a pretty terrible state. Unemployment is at 30%. Inflation is, well, it's not that bad. And, well, oh, look at that. We're making money. So maybe it's not so terrible after all. Yeah, so I don't really have any set goals for this series. I'm just going to play the game and just record whatever goes on, and hopefully you guys like it. So let me know down in the comments if you want to see more of Citystate 2. I've been having a ton of fun with this game so far, and I can't wait to see what else the game has to offer. So guys, that is... Oh, look at that. New protest. Okay, well, I'm going to pause the game, and that'll have to be for another episode. So we have 2 left-wing citizens that have gathered in the streets to protest. They want better health care. Well, I don't blame them because we don't have a hospital in the town yet. So we're not going to send the army. We're just going to... Can I see the protest? Oh, yeah, there they are. Got some protests. Anyways, we're just going to plop down a hospital next episode. So guys, that is it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, drop a like, leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for more Citystate 2 coming out in the near future. Thanks for watching. See you next time.